A lot of new information has come out in regards to the tragedy that happened in Astroworld as well as Travis Scott.
Oh.
And me having looked up a lot of this information, people ask me what my thoughts are, whether my thoughts have changed. And let me tell you, I am now 100% sure that Travis Scott bears zero responsibility. I mean, this man...
Really?
No, I'm joking. Of course not.
I was like...
These people about to lose their fucking mind. You fucking asshole! There's blood on your hands! Breathe, okay? What I think is really important to this, that I don't think it's referenced enough, and I think it's like really damning in a way. Live Nation was behind this event. They were the ones who were organizing the vast majority of it in working with Travis Scott. And their company has a horrendous record. They are linked to over 200 deaths at their events, over 750 injuries, as well as dozens of safety violations at their music events. Now we have to ask ourselves, now one could say that Travis may bear a lot of blame because of the fact that he worked with the largest live events company in the world. But at the same time, these people need to be held to account as well. Travis has 2 prior incidents in regards to inciting people at his shows. One happened in 2015. Travis Scott pled guilty to reckless conduct charges, placed under court supervision for 1 year, encouraged fans to mosh pit at Lollapalooza in Chicago, and he encouraged them to vault over the security barriers.
I want chaos. Don't you kick them off. Don't you kick them off. Let's go. They're not going to stop you. Mike, be down there. Everybody that you see, grab them. Everybody that you see, grab them. He got you. They not going to stop you. Let's go. Let's go. Hey. Don't you handle them like that. Let them the fuck go. Everybody in the green shirt, get the fuck back.
He's telling the security, get the fuck back. Don't touch the people vaulting over the fence.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Rogers, Arkansas. Travis Scott is accused again of inciting a riot, urging crowd members to rush the stage. Several people were injured. Arrested and pled guilty to disorderly conduct and ordered to pay court fees and restitution to the people, to injured people. And then once again, Bird's Eye View tour in New York City. Fan Kyle Green injured and left paralyzed after jumping off a balcony. Travis Scott yelled to him, "I see you, but are you going to do it?" as he neared the edge of the railing. "They're going to catch you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared." The man did it and ended up becoming paralyzed. Kyle filed a lawsuit against Travis. What?
Maybe it's because I'm able to be like, no, I'm not going to fucking jump off the fucking rail. And I do it. It's stupid to me. I understand that you have some kind of responsibility, but you're on a ledge. They're going to catch you. They're going to catch you. Jump. It's like, why would you trust him? Like, what does he know? You know, why did you jump? It's like, why? Because he asked? Because he's Travis and he asked? Okay.
I mean, more than that. There's hundreds of thousands of people all surrounding you and everyone's looking at you. You're not used to that limelight. Your favorite artist tells you to do something, you're going to do it.
Porn ABBA.
They'll tell you go twerk, then they go twerk.
Porn ABBA.
You feel me? This brings us to this year's Astroworld. And now, obviously, now you've got 50,000 people. There's a huge show happening. Travis is yelling at the crowd. It's high energy. And look, Travis's shows are always like that, apparently. From what I've been able to read up on, his shows are high energy. It's very like anarchist type of a vibe. People love the idea of being violent and rowdy at the shows. And undoubtedly, when you love that rebellious energy, and when you're telling people to jump over barricades, when you tell people to rush the stage, yeah, people are going to get hurt. As much as you want to show people a great experience, people's safety and well-being also matters throughout the whole experience. You have to understand that, and you have to be responsible for that. If I was security, if I was an event organizer, I'd be suing the fuck out of Travis for things like that. Putting my people, my staff in danger because he wants to create a hype moment and have people jump over, that's crazy. That's crazy. If you're one of those security guards, you will set up that railing, that perimeter for safety reasons. You do it not just for your safety, for the people in the back. Because people who are jumping over that railing are now close to you. If they got weapons, if they got whatever, it puts everybody in danger. There's a different kind of negligence that comes in when I see that kind of stuff. So you have that entire history and you come to this event and you constantly encourage that kind of energy. It carries over. And now you have people in an extra vulnerable state. Go ahead.
I'm from both perspectives. I'm from the perspective of a performer that performs on stage. And I'm from the perspective of a security guard that has to face that. There's a lot of nightmares that security guards at these shows face. And that is not talked about. When an artist decides to go in the crowd, prior to that, you have to ask security. You have to, or be in contact with the security so that we know what the fuck is going on. We have to mobilize people because a lot of things happen. You know, whenever there's people at event that are artists at event that are complaining about, well, they snatched my chain and stuff like that. And I look at the footage and the person's like, I'm gonna go in the crowd because I'm close to my people. And they go in the crowd. Yes, these things happen and stuff like that. So you have to be you have to talk with the security. I looked up after the video that we did. I looked up a couple of shows. And there's a couple of instances where the shows of Travis where he says to people to fuck shit up. I'm not saying that the people there do not have a responsibility, but that's his show. He's telling people to fuck shit up. He has a responsibility for that. It's not so much a control that you have. People have accountability. Yeah, people don't have to necessarily do it, but there's this crowd effect that's happening that you have. So he definitely has responsibility like that. You know, when you ask people to go in a crowd or to move a certain way, yes, there's this whole thing where you're supposed to MC the crowd, where you're supposed to be the master of ceremony. You're supposed to entertain the crowd and stuff like that. But there's some things that, especially in hip hop, there's a lot of things like that happen that can go overboard. I'm thinking about hip hop, yes, you know, the mosh pit and stuff like that. But I've seen shows from Slipknot, which is another band that does metal, that it goes out of hand. Because it's like a moment that you want to replicate, that it's anarchy and you want to replicate all that and it's all based in fun and everything and stuff. You as an artist, you pack your shit, you go home and that's it. But people in the crowd that just want to watch the show and don't necessarily want to do that. I've seen another show, I don't want to put people out there, but I've seen another show where I was outside of the people in the middle and the artist on top asked people to mosh pit, open a circle, this side and this side, you're gonna run against each other. I've seen that in concerts. So yeah, there's definitely, it's your name on the brand, it's you on the stage, you have some, and you do certain things to the crowd like that. You ask the crowd to vault over or whatever. There's gonna be some kind of responsibility that you're gonna have with that. It's a mess. It's a whole mess.
But one thing I think is a giant mistake. Whenever things like these happen, right, there's such an emphasis put on the big name star at all times, right? This guy's the face of it, bang, bang. And I think it doesn't do justice to the people who really suffered, because accountability means putting the blame where it needs to be appropriately, not where it's most convenient. We say Travis Scott because he's the name and he's the big person, and if he pays, then we can all see some change happen. When I can assure you, when you work a big show like that, Travis Scott doesn't know shit about the security. Travis Scott doesn't know shit about the layout of the whole thing. They are never briefed on these things. They hire other people who handle it. Now, of course, when you hire people, you're always going to have some level of accountability. But understand, there's people who 150% failed at their job. Failed. When the police department declares that there's a mass casualty at this place, immediately that information needs to be relayed to Live Nation, who was in charge of this festival, right? And they need to just cut the plug, because you are trusting other people to handle their parts. If there's a disturbance on the left wing and there's a mass stabbing, the artist is not going to know. He's counting on security to figure that out, and then they're supposed to relay to him, cut the plug, right? Now, that doesn't mean that Travis doesn't have accountability. We've said throughout this whole thing, 100%, there's a large measure of it. But you have to understand, there are failures systematically at every level that happen when something like this happens. And to levy it on Travis, to put all the focus on him, does an injustice to the people who've really suffered. Because the people who are really, really at fault are not going to get held up as accountable as they should be. So we as people, when we're watching this, cannot just look at the big name person to be levied all the blame. We have to look at, Live Nation. It reminds me a bit of the R. Kelly situation where all the emphasis was put on R. Kelly, not recognizing that the only reason they were able to get R. Kelly was all the people who assisted him in his crimes, who were able to get off scot-free in order to put him to the sword.
Enablers.
You have to ask yourself, did we just let go of a whole bunch of criminals just because we wanted to get the big name one? You feel what I'm saying?
Man,
there's a lot of other people who were involved in this, who enabled it, who facilitated the young women, right? Like,
you know what the thing is? It actually works like that in the legal system.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes, because a prosecutor...
We'll drop all this. Give me the big name.
That's right.
Give me the big name. Give me the big boss, and I'll be able to do something for you.
Because the prosecution also likes all of that.
Yeah.
They like all the fame.
They like big names.
Adulation. Right? It's a big dub for I'm the one who got R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm not the one who got 200 no-name criminals.
No.
R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say this. While we're having this whole discussion, you also have to place a tremendous amount of accountability on the people who didn't seem to give a fuck about other folks who were dying right next to them. Yes. The people who didn't have enough consideration to try to make a path for people who were suffering. The folks who wanted to be more concerned with raging than their own neighbors. There's also a certain amount of accountability there. I think when it comes to these kind of events, we always look to creators. We always look to the organizers. Undoubtedly, they deserve some measure of accountability, this, if not the lion's share. But you as individuals also have to say, you played a role in that. When someone's struggling right next to you, falling to the ground, and you just being concerned about trying to get as close to the stage as possible, you play a part in that. We can't always look upwards in regards. We can also look sideways. Because I can assure you, put in a different crowd with a different set of people, the results could have been drastically different.
What do you mean?
Not all crowds would have behaved like that, irrespective of what artist is on stage.
Fair.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
A lot of people act completely differently based off what kind of crowd. You know this. I know this because we go to nightclubs. Mm-hmm. The crowd changes, right? You could have the same DJ set depending on who shows up, right? So you also have to look at that there.
Well, sorry.
And it's hard to do that, and it's not nearly as interesting, or there's no like catharsis because it's just a sea of people, right? It's a question mark. You don't have any faces. Travis Scott is a face and name you can point to and you can Twitter at. But the individuals also have to ask themselves, like, what's going on here? Dude, you know what's crazy? Maybe this is also just me. What the is a 10-year-old doing at a concert like that? Am I crazy?
You're old. You're old and immigrant. My parents would have never. Instead, the first time I went to a concert, I was old. You understand?
Yeah.
10 years old, because, it's his favorite artist and stuff like that. Yeah, there's people that bring their kids. Listen, to each their own. Working in concert, I did a whole bunch of jobs, right? You already know that. Got to pay the bills. You got to, and yeah. I remember there was Asiaga. There was one time I was working at Asiaga. I was serving alcohol. You know the motherfuckers that passing through the crowd with the alcohol like that?
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
Eminem was on stage.
Yeah.
Kids. Eminem has the amount of people that listen to Eminem ranges from small to very old, and but the lyrics, I'm like, ooh, goddamn. Yep. You know what I mean? Shit. But there was kids. Yep. I'd have to ask myself, why? Eminem? It's just like when it was all cute, that little girl that went to Ellen's show, and she was from the UK, her with a friend that doesn't talk, right? And they were a big fan of Nicki Minaj, and everybody was like, oh, that's so cute. And I was like, it's like, that's not the only song that Nicki Minaj sings, And Nicki Minaj has a song about Anaconda.
To me, it's not even the content of the music, though. To me, it's the environment of the festival where people are laced with all kinds of drugs. And you guys might not understand this, but festivals are abundant with people overdosing, dealers who are present, right? Why do you think they have all those paramedics there? Why do you think they have all those bays?
Because Americans are not really healthy. Wrong answer.
It's because people are popping stuff.
Oh.
And you add overheating, right? Yeah. Dehydration to that. Well, it's a deadly cocktail.
The first thing is sun. Then there's heat. Then there's alcohol. But not in that order.
So why kids? It's like you wouldn't bring kids to a bar, but you're gonna let them go to a music festival.
It's like it's funny because
what?
I wouldn't go in a festival outside.
Yeah.
Like, I have a feeling that people don't pop pills as much inside and outside. I will go if there's a concert and it's like in a closed venue, like an arena and stuff like that, and I could get tickets with my kid, like, above, and we could see that, like Justin Timberlake and stuff like that, or whatever. But outside, it's a different vibe. It's people smoke, all kinds of things, and people pop more than inside. I believe.
Yeah, man. There's crazy footage out there of the whole thing. But anyways, I'm not going to stay too long on this. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think most of the blame goes to? Should kids be allowed at these festivals? What about Live Nation? Why is there more conversation about that? Is our assessment wrong? Let us know why. We want to hear from you guys.